Get a nice snippety snipe, a nice little YOLO. Oh! Hey guys, Drifter here. Welcome to Modern Warfare in Depth. In today's episode, we're going to be reviewing the HDR sniper rifle. And I gotta let you know up front that I am a miserable sniper. This is not my skill set in any capacity, but I still had a lot of fun making this episode. And please be patient with the old man style sniping. I could not quickscope with this weapon to save my life. So overall, this is my favorite sniper in Modern Warfare, and I think it is objectively the best sniper rifle at everything but quickscoping. It really stinks at quickscoping. It is a slow handling weapon. It is not snappy. It is not fast. This is a weapon that is designed for long range only, and we got about 2 weeks left on the 2080 Ti giveaway. Wanted to draw a little bit of attention to that. There's a link to it down there below in the description. Very, very easy to find, very easy to enter, and so far it's going quite well. So the one thing that you guys want to know more about sniper rifles than anything else is where does it one-shot kill? And for this episode, instead of doing raw damage numbers, I thought it would be more helpful to present this in areas that kill. So for the HDR, up close, it'll kill into the head, neck, chest and torso, shoulders, and arms. And for the arms, this includes both the forearms and the biceps, so to speak. So this will kill pretty much on the entire upper body. However, at long ranges, the HDR will only kill if you get a head or neck shot. And you'll say, wait a minute now, sniper rifles, long range, headshot only, come again? Well, the HDR and literally all of the other sniper rifles in Modern Warfare actually lose damage at extreme ranges. This is relatively new to Call of Duty. It probably started last year more with Blackout than anything else. But your sniper rifle, like every other bullet, actually does lose some damage, which is a little bit surprising, but the ranges are quite extreme. Don't worry, we're going to show them and test them. But I did want to show you this clip first of the HDR not killing when I shoot somebody directly in the torso at long ranges, just to show you that I'm not crazy. I had a little bit of a time on stream kind of pinning these ranges down, but at super long ranges, truly only head and neck shots will kill. This is really only going to be relevant in ground war and relevant at very long ranges in ground war. It's not going to be a problem most of the time. The base one-shot ranges for the HDR are 100 meters for that lower torso and 55 meters for the forearms. So outside of 55 meters, the forearms and arms aren't going to help you very much. Outside of 100 meters, which is an extremely long range, you're going to need to hit that egg. So really with this weapon, within 100 meters is your sweet spot. It really kind of struggles outside of that, but you probably want to know how it performs with a few attachments. Well, the lightweight suppressor will reduce your range by approximately 29% or 30. 30 is an easier percentage to remember. It'll go down to 171. The HDR Pro Barrel is very effective at increasing it up to 126%, which is a 26% increase. And the monolithic suppressor is 135 or 35% increase. And if you stack the two, you can get a much more significant gain out of it. I think it's really worth it to stack those two. I know there's a lot of fans of the lightweight suppressor out there because it won't impact your aim-down sights time, but it does kind of make your range on this weapon miserable, especially if you're using it in ground war. I do want to add a caveat to this episode so I don't have to repeat it in previous episodes. Bullet velocity is nearly impossible to test on a home rig. Sorry everybody, I know there's a lot of attachments and a lot of curiosity about how fast the bullets go. I actually planned an entire in-depth episode just on bullet velocity this year, and even when I put my PC in 1440p, 120 FPS, and I set OBS to record at 120 FPS, I still have issues with the way the server loads the bullets and frame drops and rounding and wildly inconsistent results. Getting plus or minus 30% on repeating the same test over and over is unacceptable for me. So without being able to go to Infinity Ward and test on their machines, I was unable to determine exactly what the bullet velocities are. However, I will tell you that bullet drop is almost non-existent up to about 200 meters plus. You really won't need to compensate very much. I mean, the ranges at which you need to adjust for bullet drop are ranges that you're only going to be able to kill or head or neck shot. Like, it's absurd how little these things drop compared especially to Blackout, where you had to like arc them and calculate and do all this math in your head. These are actually very accurate and very straightforward. What you really need to concern yourself with as far as compensating your shots is travel time. Travel time can take a little bit, so sometimes it is necessary to lead your target, but ideally you're going to be shooting at stationary targets. There is a tremendous decision coming up in the United States of America that will affect the rest of the world. So today, I have a very special message for you young voters out there.
Hey guys, Bumble Trump here. I wanted to remind you all that 2020 is gonna be huge. One of the biggest election years of all time. But sadly, young people across America vote less than any other group of people. I think a lot of you would support me building a big baby gate that keeps all the chihuahuas out. I'll put my best dogs on it. I know the best dogs, great animals, smartest woofers on the planet. Surprise! I'm actually Boomy Sanders. Let's take the milk bones away from the rich dogs and give them all to me. I think I can eat 1% of all the world's milk bones so you don't have to. Surprising again, it's just me, Boomy. Bet my costumes fooled you, though. I just wanted to encourage all of you to vote, because I can't. They told me dogs can't vote in America, and I'm not even old enough. Being 8 years old makes me a boomer in dog years, though, but they said that I had to be 18 human years to vote. Since I can't vote, it's like my opinion doesn't matter. That's why I use today's Astros sponsorship message to ask all of you to register to vote on usa.gov/register-to-vote. The link is in the description, and it only takes a few minutes. Then, this fall, your opinion will matter. Also, vote with your dollars and buy Astro headsets, because we all know that this is a vote that really counts. Click the 5% off Astro link if you want to buy headsets instead of donating to super PACs. I'm a good boy.
I hope you enjoyed the little skit. It's designed to be apolitical. I'm not trying to influence one way or the other. I have plenty of my opinions. You can find them on Twitter. They're very spicy. But for now, for today's video, I will just be very happy if you register to vote ahead of time. It'll make your opinion count. And you could also buy a headset, because Astro was cool with sponsoring me doing a youth voting thing. They're very pro-charity, very pro-community. So buy a headset to support me or Astro, or at least click the link down there in the description so I look like a fantastic sponsor. And now let's move into what is going to be by far the meatiest section of In-Depth in this episode, which is aim down sights time. And I think that's what you guys are more interested in, even more than the one-shot kills. So let's just dive right into it. The HDR base aim down sights time is 600 milliseconds, which is that's pretty slow. That's kind of on the painful side of things. If you put the HDR Pro barrel on it, that goes up to 650 milliseconds. The 26-inch bull barrel is 750 milliseconds, so we're approaching a second here, and that is downright brutal. The 17-inch bull barrel is only 650 again. Of these, I prefer the HDR Pro. I think it gives me the most benefits with the least drawback, but those are your choices. When it comes to adding the most popular attachments, monolithic suppressor is 650 milliseconds, tack laser and FTAC stalker speeded up to roughly 500 and 516 milliseconds. We're kind of splitting frames right there. So you about to shave about 100 off. And the extended mags, both the 7 and 9 round mags, I was not able to tell a difference with either one. It's still 600 milliseconds. I'm sure it's like some percentage less than one frame, so stacking with other things may not be so great, but by themselves they don't seem to hurt. The optics that you attach to this weapon also change its aim down sights time. So you've got a group of long range and a group of close range optics. The close range optics all ADS faster. The Scout optic is 550. The VLK 3X is 533. And I want to point out that that is literally one frame faster than the one above or below it. So we're kind of like in that testing and accuracy range of plus or minus a frame. It may not actually be any faster than the Cronin or Scout. And the Merc thermal optic is a little bit slower at 616. All of these are lower range zoom sights. This is what you would put on it to speed your gun up or do quick scoping, or if you just don't want the sniper glint. The sniper glint really gives you away, so sometimes having one of these sights is nice. Personally, I think the VLK is by far the cleanest, and since I got the best ADS results on it, that's the one that I use for all of this episode. If you want to go with longer range sights, the thermal sight is 650. The variable sight doesn't seem to change your aim down sights time at all at 600 milliseconds, which I think is very very nice for what you get out of it. And the thermal dual power scope is 650 as well. So the variable scopes don't really seem to impact your ADS time, but adding a thermal can. It's kind of unusual like that. And the next question is, well, what are the minimum and maximum aim down sights time? Like, how fast is this gun when you put all the speed attachments on there and really get it going for quick scoping? And the answer to that is 416 milliseconds. Conversely, if you put every slow thing that you can think of on the weapon, you can get it aiming down sights in about 1 complete second, which is so ridiculously slow, but hey, you know, at least it has fantastic range that way. Sprint out is 283 milliseconds, which is not half bad for this kind of weapon. I was actually kind of impressed by that. I think that you're going to have a really hard time hip firing, and you certainly can't aim down sights enough to see anything. This isn't your quick scoping time, but if you just have to get that desperate hip fire out, it's not so bad. The HDR does have overall slower handling than the AX50. I think the AX50 may be my last episode of In Depth this year, I'm not sure. But the AX50 is faster. The HDR is slower, but the HDR also has more range. This is really your range sniper rifle. And do keep in mind when you're using this, there are 2 gun perks that are very useful. The Presence of Mind perk will greatly increase your hold breath time. I watched the exclusive Ace video on it. I think it was close to a minute versus just a couple of seconds. Presence of Mind is fantastic if you're doing long range sniping. And if you're going to be getting up close to people, or if you're expecting a lot of incoming fire, then Focus is going to be essential to reduce flinch. Focus was really, really helpful to me on my little VLK close range class. I was really suffering before I put that perk on there. When it comes to scopes, for close range, I prefer VLK, but I don't think that's optimal for this weapon. The default scope on the HDR is great if you don't want to use the attachment slot, but overall the variable was my favorite. It was nice to have the slightly lower than standard zoom so that I had a wider field of view and I could see a lot, and then be able to zoom way in to make very, very precise shots and see how my bullet was dropping and a lot of nice things like that. The variable zoom scope, and it doesn't impact my ADS time, so I think the variable zoom scope is the best one for the HDR sniper rifle, and it's the one that I use for the majority of this episode. In my opinion, the HDR is the best long-range sniper rifle in Modern Warfare, and it was a joy to use in Ground War. I had a lot of fun. I think a lot of you on stream saw me having fun, but unfortunately it was an absolute pain in 6v6. If you're going to do 6v6 on smaller maps, the AX50 is definitely the way to go. The HDR is not your friend. Don't use this on small maps, and the class that I'm going to recommend is the slow old man sniper setup. You want to use the variable zoom scope, FTAC Champion stock, which will reduce your aiming stability so you have a lot less idle sway. That's nice. Heavier barrel, the HDR Pro, mind you. Monolithic suppressor for extra damage range and bullet velocity. And Presence of Mind so I can hold my breath for a very long time. This is not a fast reaction class. This is not a quickscope class. This is not a small map class. This is sit on top of the buildings and on the mountains in Ground War and pick people off at extreme ranges class. And it is very, very good at that. Guys, that is all for this episode of In Depth. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you learned something useful. If you did, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.
Good luck, Charlie. Good out. Back up and bravo.